the houses of the zodiac, where the furniture is, the things that are relevant and significant to our lives, is found in this science. Not a bad circle. I shouldn't have gone up so far. Got carried away here. There are 12 houses that correspond with the 12 signs. Each house of the zodiac, as you look at your chart there, is first governed by a particular sign. 0 degrees Aries is the beginning of the chart, or horoscope would be here, okay, as the natural chart. The houses then would be proceeding from here counterclockwise, going in the opposite direction in structuring the houses, would be 10, 20, 30. 10, 20, 30. 10, 20, 30. 10. Am I doing that right? 20, 30. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. From here, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, okay. 1, 2, 3.
It's the last one that's wrong.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. How did I do that? Let me see. Okay. Oh, okay. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Okay. This one here. Yep. Okay. Okay. The zodiac is broken up into 30 degrees per each sign. 12 times 30 is 360. What makes this, or these houses, is the angle of reference that the planets affect in their orbital flight around the sun. This is an invisible, an imaginary. It is not out there in space. In fact, all mathematica, that's what an astrologer is a mathematician. That's what mathematician means. If you look in the Latin dictionary, it does not mean one who counts or figures out. It means astrologer. That you imagine this invisible belt that's in the heavens that is referred to as Zodiacius, circle of animals. That's what the secular writer says, when it doesn't mean there are no animals in the sky. Circles of power, because it's a referendum under the auspices of symbolic language. Very big key for black folks to have in this period, to figure out things. That the language of nature is symbolism. The language of God is symbolism, where the knowledge and the wisdom of the understanding of nature is hidden, clothed, and placed to preserve, to keep the secret, and for the privileged, meaning those who have evolved high enough to utilize the knowledge of such language, while the psychological, spiritual children go off to play. And that is indicated in the cards, the dice, the Ouija board, and other implements that were prepared for the masses to play with while they evolve. The 52 decks, 52 cards in a deck are spiritually significant in this science, as the dice are, the cubes are spiritually significant in this science. But those are the things that most of us have played with, and many of us are still playing with them, and that's okay. The first house is given by these lines that are called cusp, the beginning of a segment of the horoscope is what these cusp lines represent. On this side of the line is the beginning. On that side of the line is the end of this 30 degrees. Okay? That's not that mystical to see and appreciate. First house, second house, third house, fourth house, fifth house, sixth house, seventh house, eighth house, ninth house, 10th house, 11th house, 12th house. The reason we are looking at these houses is to see what the position of your planets in your particular chart, based on, first it's supposed to be based on your time of birth, your date of birth, your year of birth, and where you're born. But we're going to look at the solar chart. Anybody born on January the 10th, 1999, will all have the same referendums. Okay, that's a solar chart dealing with the position of the sun in a sign, not the degree it's on, because each one of these houses is divided into 30 degrees. Now, I'm just drawing lines here. That doesn't have to be just the amount. I just want you to see. Each one of these degrees is a reference in natal charting. If I'm looking for the exact place the sun was found in this house, that degree would tell me something unique about your individual birth time and day, personality and character in the first house, which is, this is the house of personality, the house of self, thinking, outgoing part of you, how you relate to people in your world, as well as how you relate to yourself, is found in the first house, the house of Aries. Okay? So what we're going to do, and I was hoping after all this time that everyone in the class would have the book. Well, what did I do with my book? Would have the book. I took it out of here. Okay, thank you. Would have this book. It's the simplest approach to studying the basics of astrology is why I recommend it. Some of the other astrologers can get very complicated. And it's important if you're going to study astrology that you get the rudiments. That's why I began with the simplicity of the signs, the planets, and so forth. And it is important. You were born at a particular time, place, hour, and date, which tells you that the universe knows you're here, knows why you're here, that reassures you that you have a destiny, that you have a future. A problem many of our children are struggling with in the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th grade. They don't know what they're going to be doing tomorrow. Maybe they don't talk about it at home, and maybe they do. But when you don't see the things that inspire black children towards excellency, towards success, towards achievement, then you know something has been omitted. And if that's something that does inspire children to reach for higher goals is not there, then we know that they're being neglected by those responsible for their educational upbringing. We're just getting to a cultural upbringing that our children have not yet been exposed to on the full side of it. It's not in the school system. It's not in the church. That's the only place except on the sidewalk and streets where our children gather for learning anything. So this science of self, again, the theme is you, knowing you, is important. This is our academia, to be honest. Now, what the astrologers are predicting, this subject will be taught in college in the year 2001 through 10. At that point, they'll introduce astrology as a bona fide, a credible subject matter. It's already being taught in some of the more luxurious colleges and universities. I didn't say the most prestigious, luxurious, where the rich boy goes. He can take a, he can get him a degree in billiard playing if he wanted at Florida State. You know, he's just going there to play, and his mom and his daddy want him the hell out of their house. They'll send him somewhere where he can go play pool for 4 years and get a degree because they already got him a job. You know. So we're talking about finding the cultural entrances that allows us to understand ourselves and those in our world. And astrology is one of those keys. Have an astrologer tell it. It is the only key. They're very biased about their science. You know, they cherish it. But there are other such important bodies of knowledge that are a branch of this whole concept of Moorish science. This is my preferential of calling it. One brother got mad because brothers say Islam, and he's Orthodox Muslim. Don't be calling that no Islam. You know? Well, Drew Ali didn't call it Islam. He called it Moorish science. So, and that's what it is, which is higher than Islam, higher than religion, because it deals with factual knowledge that your person can prove to be in existence on the invisible. You don't have to believe that you exist. You can know you exist. You can unravel the mystery of self through the knowledge of self. That's what Moorish science is about. So what we're going to do is just read these houses. I mean, there's no more figuring out anything. This is not the symbolic part of it. You don't memorize 12 houses and try to keep that in your head and walk around trying to figure out where folks, you don't do this in your head, do this on paper, okay? So there's no problem about memorizing what's all in the first house, but after you keep going through these 12 houses, the information starts sticking, and you just remember what's in the fifth house, based on the sign that governs the fifth house, okay? So it's one way to do that. So Aries, what's the next sign?
Taurus.
Okay, all right, I won't do it. I won't get tricky here. Okay, right, Taurus. Next one. Very good. We've got some students in here. I made this circle too big. I ain't got no more blackboard. Gemini. Cancer. Now, these are supposed to be right on the cusp, on the line, okay, that when as you see, because they don't have them on that particular page there. Leo. Let me try to write this so you can see it here. Virgo. Nobody caught that, did they? That's not Aquarius. Is what? Thank you. What's the next one? Scorpio. Next one? Thank you. I'm getting ready to put Pisces here. And I'm Sagittarius. Mid-heaven, Capricorn. That's what that M's supposed to be representing there. I'm getting this board all wet. Should have some paper towels there. Thank you. Thank you. So the first house is the house of Aries. The second house is the house of Taurus. The third house, and on and on and on. That's when we recognize the houses. The qualities of those signs, 30 degrees, affect and influence and are a part of the reading of each house. Okay? What determines the significance of any of the houses is how many or what planet or planets are in those houses under your birth data, based on information gathered from this book, which is called an ephemeris, or ephemerides. It's a Latin word. There's two here. This is for the serious student here. This is for the student. This is for the guy or woman who wants to be an astrologer. You don't have to get any more books. You don't have to go get the House of Tables once you get that's put out by the Rosicrucian order after the death of Max Heidel. I wonder if he approves of that. Anyway, it's jam-packed full of planetary information or statistics. Now okay, yeah, two books here. This is another book I recommend for the student, A to Z, chunk full. And he's simplistic, but he gets further into natal charting. And as I mentioned, that isn't where you want to start. You want to start so this makes some kind of sense right away, okay? Unless you got the bug, you get very discouraged dealing with tidbits. A lot of tidbits in here, but good information as well. Llewellyn George, L-L-E-W-E-L-L-Y-N, Llewellyn George. He's the founder of the little book called the Moon Sign book you've seen around. That's his product. Since then, since his death, them witches and got a hold of his stuff, man. And you know, they sent out a magazine called Psychic World. And there was so much dark energy on it. The sister over at the apartment building where I live, when she got it in the mail, because it didn't have my apartment number on it, she picked it up like this. She said, is this your book? She could see that stuff, you know, and you could feel it, that dead negative energy, you know. That's the witch's sign, the ones dealing in the dark arts. They got dense, dark, unpleasant energy. That's one way you recognize them by their fruits, you know. That's a spoiled, bad apple. But that's who got into the science. And it's probably one of the reasons why the religionists dropped those sciences, because the witchcraft that were doing the dark stuff had access to the knowledge. You know, that's my assumption, because they got a preacher on what's going on now has got a commercial about the occult sciences and condemning them. They say all belong to the devil, and so if all this knowledge belongs to the devil, God is in serious trouble. But we know better, you see. It's not who makes the safety pin, it's what one does with it. You can either pin up the baby's diaper or stick it in his butt. The knowledge is good. All of it is good. It's what those that have been using, what their intents were and still is, that makes things evil. Okay. A to Z, astrology, horoscope delineation. Yeah. It's pretty thorough, pretty thorough. But as I mentioned, it's not a good book to start with. Let me put this down here. Let's get going here, because we're not going to do a lot of calculating and stuff. We're just going to take a look at the picture and show you how you can do your own chart. So let me go briefly through 229. Anybody, those who have got this book, turn to page 229. The Houses of Astrology. Now, I wanted to do two different readings here, but I think I'll just stick with this one. This is the house of self, the first house, the house of self, which includes personality. And that's important because the effect of your consciousness is relevant because that's what you use every day, Monday through Sunday, okay? The side of self that most people don't see until it's stimulated is the 12th house. That's your subconscious. That's what was referred to the hidden side, where the dark deeds lurk. And we see a stimulus in the subconscious realm of consciousness in this country, where all this crazy murder, this Hollywood murder, killing, is coming out, That's the subconscious mind. The energy of Neptune and Pluto, the energy of Saturn, is bringing this stuff out. That's high energy. All that's spiritual energy. It's how people are responding to it. When something goes into your subconscious, what's there comes up. Okay? The beast coming up out of the great abyss, okay, is your drives, your desires, your appetites coming out of your subconscious mind. That's individual and collective. Okay? If you wonder why everywhere you look in America, the same kinds of crazy crimes are going on. Okay? It's a pool of energy we're talking about. We live in a pool of intelligent energy. That's where we are, right? We're on the subconscious level of the mind of God. That's where we're sitting right now, standing, living, breathing right now. Spiritually, what we're trying to do is get to the supra-conscious level of the mind of God, where there is no opposition, where duality has no effect. Okay? Absolute consciousness is the superconscious level of the mind of God. That's these centers on your brain right here, your 4 chakras. That's where your Christ mind faculties are. The mind runs from the crown of your head through the sole of your feet. Okay, let's do it that way. This is the house of self. It is the most personal and most powerful house in your chart, for it symbolizes you, your mannerisms, your style, your disposition and temperament. This is the house of your outward behavior, your likes and dislikes. The first house reveals both the way you present yourself to others and the way the outside world sees you. It often indicates your physical characteristics, especially your head, facial features, which is of melanin, rhythm, 2, 4, 6, 8. Yeah, the body with a little bit of, because you can't have, according to Sheikh Ahmed Ajab, you can't have human life without melanin. So everyone walking around has got some melanin in it. But we are bombarded with this great oil that gives us our sense of rhythm, that gives us this power of imagination, see, which is the major key for your children, that you cultivate their imagination and get them to trust it. That's where the creative window is for the child. They are already using it. That's what the staring out in space is about. You paying attention to me? Are you listening? The child's sitting there having a damn vision, and the teacher gets in the child's way of learning. But that's the system. They don't have a period where, okay, children, I want you to all to sit down and relax, and I want you to daydream. Just daydream. It would be just that simple. Then write down your daydream. It would be just that simple, to cultivate But the secular school has to be convinced that there are physical faculties for spiritual powers in the body, in the brain, in the nervous system, in the spinal cord and column. That you are virtually a designed spiritual being, that the universe intends for you to become G-O-D. Anything less is you not intending to become G-O-D. Okay, all right, let me go on here. The place in your chart at which this house begins is the most important point in a horoscope, for it determines where all the other houses will follow. Now, the place he's talking about virtually is here, that should begin with your ascendant, your rising sign. Because once you place your ascendant at a point, it changes the order of the signs. That's my rising sign. Okay, so we'd start here. So the next sign would be here. Okay? And so on and so on. It would readjust the chart. So if him and this brother here were born on the same day, but different times, then you would have a different ascendant than he would have. So your charts would be two different charts, even though you would both be, let's say, Virgos or Pisces. Yes, sir?
The time is the only factor you can use to conclude what your rising sign is, right?
Well, there is an estimate, because the position of the ascendant is approximately 2.5 days in the chart. Now, they have a, we'll take a look at they have a ascendant chart in this book. And it's pretty good. It's pretty good. So if you have an estimate time of about when you were born, don't have a guess. You know, like most say, I don't know, but I think it was born at, I think it was 2. That ain't gonna help much, okay? But if you know pretty much your personality character, you can almost intuit your rising sign, because you're using it. You know, I've met some Virgos with a Sagittarian rising sign. Blew me away, you know, because my head don't think like that. You know, I'm so stuck into Sagittarius and Gemini, but it's quite, that's quite a distance of degrees apart. But that ascendant would certainly colorate and flavor those 30 degrees of Virgoian personality characteristics. So it's important to know your ascendancy, you know, particularly if you're having a hard time understanding yourself, okay? You know, part of the problem of college, high school, going somewhere is those students are not getting counseling, you know, because the counselors can't tell them enough about themselves. You know, so, and probably some of you who've been to college probably know this. Change their majors 3 and 4 times, you know. Start out, want to be a doctor, end up almost being a trash man, you know, by being confused, by not having A, enough self-knowledge, and B, not enough confidence. Not enough confidence. You know, self-knowledge enhances your confidence in you, in the God within yourself, okay? That being your true nature. This is the house of money, second house, the house of Taurus. And anybody know any Taurus? They can handle some bucks and like to handle some bucks. Okay, that's second house. This is the house of money and possessions. It relates to what you own in life and what you will acquire, your income and your financial prospects. This is the house of movable possessions, the things that you physically take with you, not land or buildings. Is the distinction being made there. That's 8th house. This is the house of movable possessions, the things that you physically take with you as you move through life. The second house also tells how you feel about money and possessions and gives a clue to the kinds of objects with which you like to surround yourself. To the certain extent, it gives you a picture of your earning power and ability to handle money. The second house often shows what activities and projects may be lucrative a lucrative source of income for you. And also, money to come is found in the second house. Okay? We need to understand that the universe drew us down here, and the universe is responsible for our stay, our success, therefore our prosperity. If we negate that prosperity by wrong thinking, thinking poor, thinking poverty, thinking I don't have, I ain't got, I can't get, then you turn that energy in on yourself away from what is provided. We are doing it. Okay, the white boy has got his trap out there and tricking and stealing and stuff like that. Can't deny, but that